Good day to all of you, my dear students. So for this day, I will be discussing a new topic in life science, and this is all about plant reproduction. So in this, we will basically know the concept of angiosperm, which refers to us as a flowering plant like this spring crocus or the crocus vernus. Again, when you say angiosperms, it refers to a flowering plant. We also need to understand the different functions of the flower. First, the flowers are the reproductive structures of the plant. Second, they have evolved to send and receive pollen from one flower to another, which is called as pollination. And third, flowers are developed from a series of modified leaves. These arrangements are called as whorls. These special structures of flowers help the plant to effectively reproduce and multiply like other organisms. This is an example of flower structure. So flower structure has basically different parts. We have the stigma, style, and ovary, which is the female part of a flower. We have also the petal, the sepal, the anther, and the filament. Anther and filament are basically the male part of the flower. Again, the female part of a flower are the stigma, style, and ovary, while the male part of the flower are the anther and filament. For the flower to successfully reproduce, pollination process is very important. By definition, pollination is basically the transferring of pollen from one flower to another by any means of transferring. Some example of this will be flashed in the screen. So pollen grains contain the male gametes of the plant. They are picked up by a pollinator and transferred to another flower. Plants also tend to specialize in pollinators. This is to ensure that the pollen is delivered to same species of the plant. Those are some example of pollination. One of the specialized characteristics of pollination is encouraging only one type of insect. Some flowers are highly specialized to encourage only one type of insect. Another characteristics of pollination are the following. First, they are hermaphroditic, which means it has two sexes. They have female and male gametes. With this, they can undergo the so-called self-pollination and the cross-pollination. When you say self-pollination, it refers to a pollen from a flower which could land on the stigma of the same flower or another flower on the same plant. While cross-pollination, the pollen transferred from the anther on one flower to the stigma of another flower on a different plant. We have also the different types of pollination. This can be through wind, animal, and water. So, flower is very important in creating fruit. We all know that before the fruit to be produced, there must be always, or it will always start to a flower. like in this marsh marigold or Calta palustris. We have also different types of fruits and seed dispersal. It could be animal, or it could be through animal, through wind, and through explosive dispersal. After pollination, fertilization occurs. Pollination is not the same with fertilization. Fertilization is basically fertilizing female gamete with male gamete carried by the pollen grain. The egg cell of the female gamete located in an ovule inside the ovary of the flower will be then combined with the male gamete from the pollen grain germinated from the stigma down the style by means of pollen tube. With this process, reproduction of plants occurs. This is the image of how the fertilization occurs from the pollen grain on the stigma going to the ovary of the flower. So this is the pollen grain creating a pollen tube going through the ovary of the flower. Then, fertilization now may occur. While this image shows the ovary of the flower where the fertilization process occurs. We have the germinating or the male gamete inside the ovary fertilizing the egg cell of the ovary. Moreover, this picture shows a very good image of the pollen grain of daisy flower using microscope. We have this one. While this next picture shows the germination of pollen grain of a bluebell, creating a pollen tube needed for the fertilization process. This is the germination of pollen tube of this particular pollen grain. In plants, double fertilization may occur, which it shows in this picture. So we have here two male gametes that could fertilize also two female gametes. This process is called as the double fertilization. With that, please answer these questions in your quiz notebook. How do humans contribute to the pollination of angiosperms and gymnosperms? And then try to answer also this evaluation of this topic. First question is, the reproductive organs of the plant are inside the blank. A. Stem. B. Flower. C. Roots. D. Leaves. You can write your answer on your quiz notebook. Second question is, in the male part of the plant, the stamen is made up of the blank. Letter A. Stigma and style. B. Filament and stigma. C. Anther and stigma. D. Filament and anther. Number 3. In the female part of the plant, the sticky tip where pollen grains stick is called the blank. Letter A. Stigma. B. Style. C. Anther. D. Ovary. For number 4, when fertilized, the ovules become the plant's blank. Letter A. Flower. B. Fruit. C. Seeds. D. All of the above. For number 5, many plants develop a fleshy fruit around their blank to attract animals to eat them. Letter A. Stem. B. Flowers. C. Seeds. D. Roots. For number 6, the female pistil has three parts, including all the following except blank. Letter A, stigma. B, style. C, ovary. D, stamen. For number 7, all of the following are plant seeds except blank. A, samara. B, sepal. C, coconut. D, akinete. And for number 8, which of the following are ways plant seeds are dispersed? A, by the wind. B, by being eaten by animals. C, by clinging to animals. D, all of the above. For number 9, what is the main role of sepals? A, they become the fruit. B, they protect the bud. C, they make pollen. And D, they contain the ovules. For number 10, the main function of a flower is in the blank. A, photosynthesis. B, preventing water loss. C, reproduction. D, plant defects. And that's all for today. Thank you for listening, and hopefully you really understand this topic with the simple video that I produced. Please remember to subscribe on my YouTube channel, Mr. Mike Cuenta, for more videos. Thank you and good day.